Good afternoon, guys, and welcome to the podcast. And what if I told you our guest from for today comes from Denver, Colorado, and he is a dynamic keynote speaker. He's a professor and author, and he helps individuals over the last 2 decades unlock their true potential, achieving success. Dr. B. Brian, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. Excited to be here. I know you're doing some amazing things for the people who are able to get on and watch and to be able to serve them in ways that can make a difference in their lives. And so excited to be part of your show today.
Yeah. Briefly introduce yourself, and I'm really excited to dive into the questions.
Gotcha. Yeah. So my name is, I go by Dr. B. A lot of people call me Brian. And when I think about success, or I think about the things that I've been able to do, it's all been by me being able to serve people. And I have a prayer that I say every day. I say, dear Lord, give me the wisdom to do the things you put me on this earth to do in a way that pleases you and serves others. And so that's what I've dedicated my life to. I have 8 wonderful children. I have 16 grandkids. And so we spend a lot of time with them and getting stuff done and doing what we can to help those kids out. And then on the other side of it, if I can be of service to others in any way that I possibly can, let's do it. I'm just thinking about this month, and whenever you watch this, we're in December of 2024, and we decided to do a goal setting workshop. And we're going to talk about why focusing on your goals, most people struggle. So we're going to talk about outcomes and a whole bunch of fun stuff. Whenever, like I said, whatever I can do it over time. I know we get to talk about money here. And so I was a financial advisor for a while. I've a mortgage business. I have my mortgage company, still do mortgages. I just wrote a book. I just wrote a second book that's going to come out next month. And I just spend time out there in the community doing what I can to help others.
I love that. And it's all about serving and giving value for the audience. So I love this idea of just overarching themes. And you have building the foundation, the 5 pillars of freedom for lasting success. Talk about that.
Yeah, one of the things, so I went to it was called a trust seminar. And so there's a guy named Dana Borsager who wrote a book called The Trust Edge. And I went there and I found out when I was there, trust is a great way to lead with. You got to trust people. If people aren't going to give you your money, if they don't trust you, you're not going to give anybody your money. If you don't trust them, you're not going to give anybody you let your family hang around with them. And so it was some really good information with a lot of statistics. And then I was in there when I was looking at folks of color, folks that looked like me or in my community, there were very few. And so I came back and said, what can I do to create something that would be for communities that don't normally get some of this stuff? And so I met with some friends. We put together the 5 pillars, which are trust, faith, identity, health, and finance. And those are the 5 pillars of, if you can get good at all those 5 things, if you can be a superstar at those 5 things, then you can be super successful. And I created a journey. And so this year in 2024, we've interviewed 100 Black men, of successful Black men, of people who are doing these exact things and found some themes. And next year we're going to add the rest of the world to what we call a journey to freedom, knowing that we never end. Our journey continues to grow, to move on. We just sometimes get stuck because we don't know what to do. We don't know about our associations, the people that we need to hang out with. You hear this all the time. If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. But then nobody tells me how to get into that right room. A lot of what we talk about is, how do I get into this room that I'm supposed to be in instead of the room that I'm already in that isn't serving me to move forward? And so I don't want anybody to be stuck at all.
Yeah, I love that. Moving on, which I really inspired by your passion. I got done with the podcast before you, and we were talking about wealth and success. And here in the West, our status and our worth are evaluated by our achievements. But you talk about redefining what it means to truly succeed and success beyond wealth.
One of the things, when I think of success, and this is what I tell the group of men that I've been doing, it is, are you living in purpose? Because I think we all been put on this planet, and that's my belief system. We've been put on this planet for a certain reason, to do what we can do to help others and serve people. And if you're living within that purpose, Whether you're making $1 million or you're making $50,000, but you're doing where you're serving others and you're doing what God put you on this earth to do. And so a lot of the things that I do are say, okay, how can I help you if I'm doing my coaching is how do I help you become the person you need to be to do the thing you need to do, the thing that you want to do. And so if you are successful, you're doing that thing. You're doing, hey, people, well, I don't know what my purpose is. I don't know what it is I'm supposed to do. And so I say, okay, what do you love to do? What would you do and not get paid for it every single day? Now, I'm not saying let's not get paid for it. I'm just saying, what would you get up every morning and do and not get paid for it and be happy for the rest of your life and achieve greatness? That's your purpose. That's what you should be doing. And so now let's find ways to guide you in that purpose so that it can be what you do every day. So then when you get up in the morning, you can go, wait a minute, I get to live today. I get to get up. I get to do what I love to do every single day. And then that's when success comes, because it's that person who hates to go to work every morning. I hate to do what I'm doing. And then they go, well, I'm successful, but they're miserable or whatever. I have a lot of money, because I know several people who have a lot of money and they're miserable. I know some bankers and stuff, and they hate getting up and they hate talking and they yell at their wife and their kids aren't. I even live because we only get this, we go through this round once. And so if you're spending every day not happy with what you're doing, let's find out what you love and then let's be good at it. And that's success. And then usually the money comes behind that, because you can be successful whatever you want to be. And I guess there's some professions that if let's say my purpose is a priest, you're probably not going to be mega wealthy, but you're going to be mega happy, right? And you're going to have satisfied all the things you're doing.
Yeah. Which I really love. And it's just talking about aligning with your goals and your passions. And the next question I have for you is, a lot of high achievers that I've talked to, yourself included, they all had these personal habits, and some of them are like waking up at 4 or 5 a.m. Some of them are meditation. What are daily routines, kind of baseline for entrepreneurs, people listening to this, that help them maximize their potential?
And that is such a good question, because it's all about habits, right? So in order for you to do and become the person that you need to be to do whatever that thing is, right? There has to be some habits and things, because if you already were doing those things, you would already be that person, right? And so many people, you go to a Tony Robbins or a Les Brown or a Ed Mylett or some of these like motivational speakers, and you'll go there and you'll get excited and you say, I'm going to do it. And you go home and you go, do what? And then you sit there and then you get depressed because you don't know what to do, how to do it, because you haven't become that person yet. So your journey should be in these habits that you're creating for yourself, something that makes you better than the person that you were the day before. And some of those is successfully clues. First, find out what the person that's already doing what you're doing, and find out what they do every day and see what they're doing and see if that aligns with the things you're able to do. And then so associations is one of the big things. The next one is your personal development. A lot of people don't spend time on personal development. What is your daily? If I were to ask somebody, what do you do every day that's personal development? And I hope they don't say I watch TV, because ultimately that's what they're probably doing. I hope they don't say that I go to a sporting event every single week. I hope they don't say that they're hanging out, because, and you don't have to do this all day long every day, but what's the first thing you do when you get up? Do you pick up this device and then you start your day on, you're reacting to it? Or do you start your day saying, I'm not saying don't pick up this device, but what do you go to? Do you go to a podcast, or you go to a YouTube video that is going to enhance you, that's going to make you better? Do you invest some time and money in books, the books that you read, the people that you're associating with? Are you spending, do you have mentors in all the different areas, spiritual mentors and relationship mentors and money mentors? If you're waiting for that person to show up at your door and knock on your door and say, hey, guess what, Christopher? I decided I want to be your mentor. And so I'm here to start walking through and help you become the person you want to be. That's not going to happen, right? You have to go seek out that person. You have to say, and what's so amazing, if people are successful, usually will try to do whatever they can to help you get there. Now, I'm not saying you go to John Maxwell and try to call him up, show up at his doorstep. You're not ready for John Maxwell. You haven't become that person yet that is ready to spend some time with John Maxwell. But there are people that have maybe gotten training from John Maxwell on leadership training or something that'd be happy to help you. And so those are just a few of the things that you do on a daily basis. And then where do you spend your time? Because I can tell you where you're spending your time and your money is exactly what you're getting out of it. And there's so many people. I just interviewed a few NFL superstars, that Super Bowl champions that we talked to, and tried to get their habits and their things. And you just realize that their work ethic during the time that they're in season, they weren't watching whatever shows that are on that are going. And here's what's even a killer that all this end with is, I'll find people all the time. I'll go to the barbershop or hang out with people or family or whatever. And they can tell me, we're in the middle of football season, playoffs is coming up, and they can tell me more about players in the NFL. And then I ask them, what are your kids doing? And they can't tell me. I'm like, you have the stat of you're awesome, right? So you have the stats of Dak Prescott, or what's I don't even know the guy that's at the Texans. And they can tell me all cloud or whatever thing. You can tell me all his stats, but you can't tell me what your kids are doing or what they. Hello, habits, thought process. But we have to get there, right? Because if you're not used to doing it and you haven't developed those habits, you're probably not going to get there right away. So we start little, we move forward.
Yeah. I was listening to this interview by Djokovic, and just to keep that level of success day in, because I think he didn't do as well in the US Open this year. And just like it, I had a revelation that it's like you said, day in and day out, to have that type of success consistently, you just have to be singularly focused. Which brings me to my next question is, a lot of people feel stuck or they just stagnate. You were talking about they go to a 9 to 5 that they hate. It may pay well, but they just hate it. How do they find freedom in their personal, professional lives?
That's great. So I've written a couple books, and just because of this, the first one is called There Is No Tiger. And There Is No Tiger is about overcoming overthinking and controlling anxiety. Knowing that the tiger, like a tiger is going to jump on you and can eat you and kill you. And back in the caveman days, they had to hide from them. And that's true fear, right? Realize like danger to your life is fear. But what we spend a whole bunch of time on and why we're stuck is we have this anxiety about what the future is going to happen and what's going to happen in the future that we can't control. We don't know what's going to happen. And we play these reels in our mind. If I do this, like I got this job, I hated it, but I'm fair. What if I go start doing something else? Then I'm not good at it. And if I'm not good at it, and I leave my job, then they won't let me come back to my job. And if they don't let me come back to my job, then I'm not going to be able to feed my kids. And if I'm not going to be able to feed my kids, then they're going to grow up and they're going to hate me. And when I have my grandkids, they're not going to visit me. And then and they play these rules. The rule they don't play, what if I leave this job and this works? And it works so well that I don't ever have to think about ever doing what I was doing before. And I'm going to enjoy my life. And I'm going to love my life. And I'm going to love all of it. We don't do that. We spend all the time in this negative reels of our mind, and then we don't make decisions. And so the next book I wrote is called The Decision Formula, and it's going to come out this next week. And 5 easy steps to make decisions that will change your life. And I'll just briefly say, there are irreversible decisions and there's reversible decisions. And the irreversible decisions are very few and far between. Yes, if I'm going to get my leg amputated, it's not going to grow back. It's irreversible. Let's spend some time thinking about it. If I'm going, a lot of time thinking about it. If I'm going to change my job or my career, I can be reversed, right? I go on and find out that I suck at whatever I thought I was going to be good at, or I dipped in my toe in the water and try it. No, I can go back. I can go back to what I was doing, especially if it's one of those jobs where the value isn't that great, where it's maybe a little bit over minimum wage or something. There's plenty of jobs out there that you can go back to. There's not plenty of things that will just ignite your life to be you being as happy. And so a lot of getting unstuck is the willingness to stop thinking about what could possibly happen if I try something new.
Oh, I love that. I really, because it reminds me, like, why do we go into this default mode of what if I fail as opposed to what if I succeed? Why do we do that? That's quite fascinating.
Yeah, there's just so many people that just they continue. I was not listening. I did a podcast yesterday. My first live one we did yesterday, and it's on relationships. And one of my panelists, he said that his nephew was saying, what's in it for me in marriage? I don't want to find a girl and I don't want to get married because then, what I find out is when we get divorced, she's going to take half. And when she takes half, then I'm going to be miserable and I'm going to end up giving her all of my stuff. And I'm like, you're going into the whole marriage thinking that it's not going to work before you even start. You're not allowed to get married. You can't. I'm telling you right now, as long as you're thinking that way, you're going to manifest that in a big way. And how do we do that? Why do we spend our time dwelling on things? First, we can't control our outcomes. That we can control the activity, but we can't control what really happened. And you think about all those things you ruminate on that never ever happen, and you even try to control situations. If this has I gotta have 5 outlets, A plan, B plan, C, and I gotta figure, and you'll spend hours and hours figuring out what to do on plan C that you have and did no hours on plan A. No, but what if it works and I'm gonna work? No, but let's figure out what's gonna happen when it goes wrong. But yes, I was just dumbfounded. My marriage is gonna go bad before I ever even find the girl that I want to marry. It's like, then, yeah, we're way too far in the future on that one.
Yeah. Fascinating. Because when I was in my younger years, I trained with Olympic athletes, and your comment just brought awareness was when they trained, whenever they competed, they said, if they think, what if I fail? They're 2 steps behind. Yeah. They have to always focus on, and just this idea, like Jeff Bezos was saying, when he started Amazon, he was talking about reversible and irreversible decisions, and most of them are reversible, like you talked about.
It took Jeff Bezos 10 years to make a profit in Amazon. 10 years. And we're worried about we can't make a profit in 10 days.
Yeah.
10 years. Oh my, you're so right. Oh,
Yeah. It's
yeah.
really fascinating.
If you could not fail, what action would you take? If you knew you could not fail, what would you do today differently?
Yeah. The next question I have for you is, because I was having lunch with my colleague the other day, and we talk about this idea of trust. And when I go to conferences, there's kind of people, you talk to people, some of them are just, they hide their cards. They want to basically steal ideas from you. And so if you're trusting and you're giving value, and people are like, how do you distinguish, like, when you're giving value versus being taken advantage of?
Yeah. Well, and I love how you say that. And when I say, if I'm serving others and I'm giving value, what is it? What's the super secret that I have that if somebody gets it, and guess if I was an inventor and I was able to invent this device that was going to revolutionize the entire world, but I'm a thought leader, right? So if I can help you become successful, and I really believe we have this belief in our world that we live in a world of lack. We don't live in a world of abundance, right? And so when you think of the resources, and even economics talks about finite resources, I tend to believe there isn't any finite resources, because whenever, as human beings, as the ability to be able to think, reason, and move forward, whenever a resource is depleted, as humans, we find a way to circumvent that and create a better resource even beyond it. You think of lumber back in the day that lit all the candles. That was the only way you would have light at night, is burning these well blowers, right? So the wells run out, we find oil. Now, we're going to run out of oil. There's not going to be any more oil over the next 100 years. What are we going to do? All right, so now we got solar, we got sun power. The sun's going to run out eventually, yeah? But we got a while before that's going to happen, right? So we can create it. So when I think of, if I give some of who I am, there's enough for you and I. There's 6 billion people on the planet. How many do I need to work with to be successful? How many do I need to spend my time with to be successful? A couple thousand maybe, to be super successful and live out all the dreams and everything in my life? With 6 billion people, there is enough room for you, me, and everybody else. Now, if I want to be Elon Musk, then I guess, and be the richest man in the world, then maybe I got to hide some of those secrets. But I'll be 60 years old in March. There's nothing that I have that I shouldn't share with somebody that I can't share the planet with and figure it out. So I go and try to trust people to see if I can have relationship with them. And if I can, then let's go do this thing together. let's go jump on this thing and let's shoot for the moon. If you really are gonna take advantage of me, that's a risk that I'm gonna take. And I just don't think I have any ideas that are first that haven't been done before. I don't know if I have one of those ideas. And then that is so revolutionary that I got to go behind some big giant wall and vault and stuff and hide it from the rest of the world until I can put it out.
Yeah. I really love this, and I really got so much insights and wisdom. And how can people find you? You've got a podcast, you've got books, socials, and how can people connect with you?
So the best way to find me is if you go to brianearnold.com. That's BRIANEARNOLD.com. Everything that I do, everything that I have, all of those secrets are embedded in that website. You can find me, you can call me, you can talk to me, whatever I can do to help you, whether it's hey, you grab one of the books. Like I said, we're getting ready to do a goal setting workshop that I tell you will revolutionize what you're doing if you're trying to become that person. Because I need you to be that person who can go see Tony Robbins. Because if you go see him and you get excited and you don't know, you come back home and you don't know what to do, you're just going to be mad. So come look at some of the stuff that I can help you out with so you can become that person and do the thing that you need to do. And so I'd love to converse with you, talk with you, spend some time with you. We can talk about whatever you want to talk about as long as it's you getting better. If you want to talk about the girl that you don't know, that you're not going to marry because she's going to take half of your money, then we don't have nothing to talk about. You're out of luck.
Yeah. Yeah, I really enjoyed this conversation, and keep up the great work, and happy holidays.
Thank you, Christopher. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on your show today. I hope this touches it. You guys listen to this guy and all the things that he has. He's bringing great content to you as often as you possibly can. So make sure you subscribe to his stuff. I promise it's good.
Thank you.